Hi, I'm Brian Newman, Central Valley Regional Board UST Program Manager. We have a short video for you to explain what we do in our program.
The 1983 State Groundwater Protection Act created the underground storage tank program in California. The two main components are permitting, which is handled by the local agencies, and cleanup, which is shared between the local agencies and the 9 regional water quality control boards. The ultimate goal of the UST program is the protection of water and human health from the effects associated with the release of fuel hydrocarbons from UST sites. This is accomplished by defining the extent of the contamination, identifying potential exposure pathways, determining the amount of exposure occurring, and, if necessary, reducing the amount of exposure occurring. To reduce the amount of exposure, contaminants may be remediated and/or the exposure routes interrupted or removed. Authority to require UST cleanups is found in both the Water Code and the Health and Safety Code. According to the State Board's online GeoTracker database, since 1984, there have been over 8,500 UST releases reported within Region 5. As of December 2016, approximately 7,800 releases have been investigated, mitigated, and the case closed, leaving less than 700 cases open within the region. Of these, about 560 are under the direct supervision of regional board staff, and about 130 are under the direction of local agency staff. This is a figure of an example of the GeoTracker mapping tool with all open and closed UST cases in the vicinity of downtown Sacramento displayed. Within Region 5, there are approximately 14 PYs of technical staff and 2 PYs of management and support staff dedicated to our program. In addition, approximately $72,000 in the temporary help budget supports 4 PYs of scientific aids. 90% of the UST program is funded through the state's UST Cleanup Fund, and the remainder comes from federal funds. No program money comes from the state general fund. In fiscal year 2015-16, the 3 offices combined closed 95 UST cases and moved 45 sites into remediation. This equates to closing about 15% of the open cases within the region in the last year. In addition, staff evaluated every case for closure pursuant to the low-threat closure policy. Sites meeting the policy were directed to begin final closure activities. Activities performed by regional board staff include drafting enforcement orders and permits, reviewing and responding to technical reports, issuing written directives in letters and emails, and meeting with responsible parties and consultants. According to GeoTracker, during the last fiscal year, over 250 closure requests and work plans were tracked, and 99% received a written response within 60 days. In fiscal year 2015-16, staff issued over 1,100 written directive and guidance letters. In addition, staff spends time in the field overseeing drilling activities, collecting split samples to allow for independent verification of data, and inspecting remediation systems. Field visits and inspections are both announced and unannounced to confirm systems are operating and that field activities are being performed properly. This is a photo of staff inspecting a remediation system. The majority of responsible parties work cooperatively with regional board staff and utilize available funding. However, some cases have been found to remain inactive even after formal enforcement due to either extreme responsible party recalcitrance, a lack of available resources, and/or responsible party abandonment of the site. For these cases, we use funding from the State Board's Emergency Abandon and Recalcitrant Fund, the EAR Fund. Though time-intensive for staff, taking an additional 50 to 150 hours per year per site, this program allows us to move sites that would otherwise remain idle to closure. Region 5 is by far the largest user of EAR funds, accounting for over 60% of the statewide cases. Although the majority of UST cases are the corner gas stations that we all frequent, not all sites are gas stations in urban areas. Many of our UST cases are found in rural environments. Commonly, these cases have impacted or threatened domestic water supply wells, and in some cases caused discharges of petroleum to surface water. During the spring of 2016, snowmelt infiltrated a 500-gallon home heating oil underground storage tank at a lakeside residence in the Serene Lakes community near Donner Summit. The water displaced old and abandoned fuels that were in the tank, then flowed across land to the adjacent lake. Serene Lake serves as both a source of recreation and drinking water for the residents of this community. The property owners and agencies responded quickly, and an emergency response effort was initiated, including emptying and removing the underground storage tank, installing multiple sections of booms across the shoreline, and excavating over 1,000 yards of impacted soil. Initial surface water samples indicated the lake had been impacted. Within a couple weeks of the initial cleanup actions, sample results showed no detectable dissolved petroleum in the lake. Groundwater monitoring wells were installed between the former tank and the lake to assess impacts to groundwater. Future monitoring events will be conducted to assess the effectiveness of the excavation and the need for additional corrective actions. This has been a quick tour of the UST program. Thank you for listening.